8,000 doses of COVID vaccine arrive. Central Governor releases report. And Tokyo Olympics bars international spectators.
This is National EMTV News with Dennis Orere.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Tuesday's news. The Madang COVID-19 Rapid Response and Surveillance Team, together with police and CS officers, have started roadblocks to make sure that people have their face masks on with hand sanitizers. Team leader Karoi Kamak told EMTV that team has started implementing the national isolation strategy as announced by the National Controller David Manning.
At 7 this morning, a roadblock was set up by police and CS officers and the COVID-19 Rapid Response and Surveillance Team in Madang. The roadblock started today and went on for at least 2 hours. These roadblocks will continue in the coming days as the country takes on new measures to combat the spike in COVID-19 cases. The operation will take place in the town vicinity, including shop inspections to make sure all shops follow the preventative measures during this time.
All the cars, even private, government vehicles, all of them, we make sure that they got a face mask on and also hand sanitizer. Those who do not have, maybe I have been asking all only buy. So sometimes maybe I been got legal stock mixing, maybe if we more finish now.
Kamek says as of yesterday, Madang has tested 1,008 people of COVID-19 with 57 confirmed positive with the coronavirus. There are no deaths and no admissions recorded for the province at this time. Residents in Madang are asked to voluntarily go for testing at the Madang Provincial Hospital.
Proper wearing, it not means that only put him on house person and lose ang kamap no o mas karami mo siya lose na kam lo mouse one na antam le sa mi bladus to and for sim long number of passengers cut down by 5. If they are carrying 15 passengers, we will can carry 8 to 10, and those only carry 25 or 30 reduced by 5.
Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Rubian Manju says the operation will continue for a week to make sure people follow COVID-19 preventative measures. Police will ensure those preventative measures are enforced. Meanwhile, PMV owners are asked to transport not more than 20 passengers in the 25 seaters and less than 10 passengers in the 15 seaters.
We want to maintain the COVID-19 protocols, social distance in the vehicles, and people who are coming to town, we will make sure they wear a mask. Lepas itu hari itu nanti kalau rules COVID-19 almost biani. So we want police to come in to enforce this.
Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Madang.
Colgate-Palmolive PNG have donated Protex hand sanitizers and face masks to the Friends of the Port Moresby General Hospital or POMGEN. They donated 800 pieces of Protex 500 milliliter hand sanitizers and 10,000 pieces of hospital-grade face masks. Friends of the POMGEN greatly appreciate the donation, especially during the COVID trying times. They stated that the donation was timely, especially when they are in need to protect frontline workers and staff with PPE, masks, hand sanitizers and soap. Colgate-Palmolive PNG Limited's General Manager John Wood stressed how critical proper hand washing with soap is to slow the spread of the disease. It is Colgate-Palmolive's hope that this donation will go some way in assisting the dedicated frontline health workers carry out their jobs in a safer environment. And they sincerely thank all frontline health workers for their dedication. Central Governor Robert Agarobe presented the investigation report on the dead fish in the Camp Welsh River today. Governor Agarobe said the delay in the report was due to more examination and report on the findings from scientists. Last month, people living along the river in the Rigo district reported that the river was polluted and a number of freshwater species of fish were found dead as well.
The central governor was joined by the acting provincial administrator Francisco Abba and scientist Vagi Ray from the Conservation Environment Protection Authority, or SEPA. The report, although delayed, had findings that were scientific in nature and difficult to interpret. However, the governor said the release of the findings will assist the inhabitants of Campbell's River to be better informed of the outcome.
Fish kills occurred less than 24 hours from midnight to sunrise. Most fish observed were on the water surface gasping for air and found dilapidated and fresh dead fish. Cause of the deaths is attributed to clogged gills as a result of high sedimentation. High levels of turbidity may have also reduced vision for fish to feed, thereby starving them, causing death.
Scientist Vagi Ray said the delay of the report was due to the process of defining the chemical results.
Tests been done, but we needed to be paid for in order for the results to come back. That should not take more than a week. Unless we have the funding available, the results will just come straight to us. The other component of trying to get the results actually being analyzed, we needed to give to 2 or 3 other organizations.
Governor Agarabe also made mention that the community along the Campbell's River would benefit from the tanks supplied for the people to access clean water.
We actually had a big stock of tanks as part of our program to have clean rainwater at all our health centers and our schools. So when we had this disaster, we already had an excess amount of tanks already. So technical team will return to undertake sampling of the water and sedimentation at the exact sites for further lab testing. And the technical team will conduct awareness at the impacted villages on the findings of the fish kills and to give some reassurance as soon as practical.
Gertrude Gabi, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. More of the day's stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Kuima Security Services have apologized to the government and the general public on the incident that happened at Jackson's airport yesterday. They say they will be working with the National Airports Corporation and police to ensure perpetrators face justice. They explained that the incident happened over their contract, which was awarded to another security firm.
Speaking to EMTV News today, the branch manager of Kuima Security apologized to the National Airport Corporation and the general public. He says they will be working with the police to ensure the perpetrators are brought to justice.
Is to assure the public that it will make sure that such incident does not happen again in the future. It will cooperate fully with the police and NAC on investigations into the incident and comply with any penalties which may be imposed.
The incident happened yesterday morning when security officers were deployed to their locations within the airport area. According to the branch manager, they were surprised to find out that another security service provider has taken over their location. By the standing arrangement in place, if Kuima's engagement is to be terminated, a 30-day notice should have been given, but that was not the case.
Both security company now, Azila and Kuima, are standing down for 14 days. To go through the investigation at the moment.
The branch manager further explained that they have received a letter from the then NAC managing director to terminate their contract, and they have agreed on the condition that all their outstanding invoices be settled. However, payments have been inconsistent, resulting in millions of kina in outstanding.
We filed our court proceedings and wrote to the Prime Minister's office expressing our situation. As a mandatory procedure, we are able to receive response letter to continue engagement until bills are settled.
The branch manager further condemned the actions of their security officers towards the staff of NAC and Jackson's domestic terminal. He assured the public that they will ensure such incidents don't happen again, and the security officers involved in the incident will be terminated.
Assisting them regarding the investigation. So whoever is being identified on the CCTV, it's going to go through the penalty and serve whatever punishment is being by the court. And I'm sorry, you're going to be, all those guards were going to be terminated from Kuima Security.
Rayon Lakingu National, EMTV News.
A Chinese shop manager was killed yesterday morning when unidentified robbers opened fire at him for offering resistance during a robbery at his shop in Kokopo, East New Britain province. CCTV footage showed armed men entering the shop with machetes and guns, chasing shop attendants and going for the cash registers. The shop manager can be seen holding a stick and trying to chase out some members of the gang. Before running off with the cash and items stolen from the shop, one of the gang members fired a shot, hitting the man on his head and killed him. The Rabaul chapter of the China PNG Friendship Association Inc. have released a statement condemning the attack and have appealed to local police enforcement to conduct an investigation into the killing. West Sepik Governor Tony Wowo has condemned the recent killing of a young man from West Sepik, also the East Sepik Coastal Highway. The killing of Ernest Nataleo is the most recent, following a string of armed hold-up killings along the highway, and most victims have been the people from West Sepik province. According to reports, the young man was returning to his village in Aitape when they encountered an armed hold-up. A failed attempt resulted in the criminals shooting at the truck, killing him instantly. The governor says such inhuman act is against the notion of the Greater Sepik region, which the Sepik leaders are promoting following the Grand Chief's passing. He also appealed to the people to identify the criminals and let justice take its course. Primary school teachers and health staff of some of the selected schools and health facilities in the Hagen electorate have recently graduated with certificates in disability, child protection and gender equality training. The training was offered by the WASH, or Water and Sanitation Hygiene Implementer Care International. The training targets partners in the EU and UNICEF's WASH project to achieve a healthy school and community in PNG.
The training is targeted at the partners and the recipients of the EU and UNICEF-funded WASH project in Mount Hagen. There are 50 schools, 200 communities and 9 health facilities that benefited in getting materials to build clean and healthy ablution block for the selected schools, health centers and those communities who are under the Cleanpla Community Project. The participants have learned to promote gender equality, child protection and disability inclusion in their schools and health centers.
Activities or programs in their school to consider the needs of boys and girls in the school. It's also the physical setup of these facilities. In terms of child protection, are they safe for children to use? And in terms of disability, is it accessible to all?
Many schools and health facilities in the country do not consider disability, child protection and gender equality when constructing a building or ablution block. Such training will help schools to consider inclusive education, not only in the learning aspect, but the designing of the buildings. Children and persons with special needs are vulnerable and at a higher risk to getting sicknesses quickly. Introducing such hygiene programs and inclusive education will promote healthy living, child protection, gender equality and disability.
So we want them to understand why it's important and why it's relevant to their own different settings and how they can promote gender equality, child protection and disability inclusion in their own settings or institutions.
Meanwhile, the WASH program is a prevention and control measure for improving health, reducing poverty and improving socio-economic development, as well as responding to global emergencies and outbreaks of life-threatening illnesses.
the expression highlights from the participants is that, a lot of it is just theory part. It would be good, if we go on the ground and actually visit what's really happening to be able to identify where they can improve. So,
Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Kina Bank has explained its latest initiatives, including fee-free banking services, in light of the acquisition of Westpac PNG and the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Kina Bank CEO Greg Pawson has revealed Kina Bank's bold ambition to modernize PNG's financial services sector with plans for fee-free banking.
Over the last sort of 2 or 3 years, we've become quite a disruptor in the PNG market. We've got the lowest fixed rate home loan. We just came out with a fee-free banking proposition for customers that have a home loan with us. We've been aggressive in the way that we've priced our digital channels, POS, ATMs, etc., and there's more of that to come. So again, there's by no means a lessening of competition as a result of this acquisition. Now the important thing too is actually there will continue to be 4 commercial banks in PNG. So we're going to be adopting a multi-brand strategy, and that's common offshore. A really good example, close to home, Westpac St George in Australia. They run 2 distinctive brands in the market who compete against each other. That's our attention here for Westpac PNG, and we'll use that same brand. We're not sure what it's going to be called yet, but it will operate here in PNG and Fiji. It will be the same brand for both businesses. And the reason for that is we want to demonstrate to the market, actually, it is about competition. Those 2 brands, Kina Bank and the new brand, even though it's part of the Kina Group, will compete against each other, and they will compete against BSP and ANZ.
The Constitutional Law Reform Commission, or CLRC, launched its official website yesterday. CLRC is a government organization that has existed for over 15 years since its establishment in 2004, but without a website that makes files inaccessible by the public. It is now moving away from manual to digital culture, where information is not just stored and secure, but is also readily available and accessible in real time by the wider public at their convenient time.
CLRC has been in operation for 15 years without website. The information accumulated in those 15 years was not available to the public because they did not have a website to publish this information. After this launch, information, file, reports and documents can be published for the general public.
This particular office is a public office. It's a constitutional office, but it is a public office. It is funded by the taxpayers of Papua New Guinea. We are accountable to those taxpayers. We are accountable to the government. It is important that whatever work or activities that is funded by the government must be made accessible to them.
According to CLRC Chairman Kevin Isifu, ICT or information and communication technology is vital in today's business because the world is turning to e-commerce.
And as you all know, ICT is inevitable in the world today. And ICT is changing every time, from private business transactions to the way government organizations conduct their day-to-day business.
In manual system, it is very difficult to track cases of village courts and even district and national courts. With ICT and the help of this new website, cases can now be easily tracked at all levels of court on this online platform.
So you will note that the single track, the Supreme Court and National Court, you will not physically lodge the claim anymore, you will have to do it electronically. And so there's electronic filing, you can pay online. So everything is now going online.
According to TJAG Secretary Dr. Eric Kwa, the CLRC website will serve similar purpose to that of PECLI, where all the information related to laws and court decisions have been stored online and accessible to the general public.
So they have asked us to work with them to develop our own PNG League. So that's where we are heading, to try and create a platform where you can access your NESO or the Supreme Court decisions at the present matter. Interestingly, if I may just mention it in terms of the judiciary, you can actually track all the judgments of the National Supreme Court just by the press of a button. You don't need to go to PACT. They've got a new website app that you can log into and just find out about the decision of yesterday.
Alexis Sengi, National EMTV News.
The principal lawyer of John Allman Lawyers in East Sepik Province passed on at Boram General Hospital at the age of 73 on the 12th of March 2021. Late John Allman appeared before the Maprik District Court for a case. On his way to Wewak to attend to the great-grand chief's funeral and burial, he got critically ill. Late Allman was rushed to the Boram General Hospital where he passed away. He was flown back to Port Moresby after he passed away. Tomorrow, his casket will be flown to Wewak and he will be laid to rest in Angaram. He leaves behind his wife and 9 children. And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina opened unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina will buy $0.2775 $0.3538 Australian dollars, $0.3848 New Zealand dollars, and 29.59 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee, cocoa, and copper closed higher, palm oil closed higher, crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, and the All Ordinaries is also trading higher. 8,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines arrived from Australia this afternoon with the aim of vaccinating frontline health workers, specifically in NCD. A team of AusMed specialists also arrived with the vaccines on a Royal Australian Air Force flight. After much talk about COVID-19 vaccines by the government, health authorities and the general public, the first lot of AstraZeneca vaccines arrived from Australia this afternoon at the Jacksons International Airport through the APAC terminal. People have had mixed reactions over past weeks and months regarding COVID-19 vaccines for Papua New Guineans, considering issues of safety and relevance. However, Prime Minister James Marape and his government and partner agencies are confident the vaccine is safe and that the risk of COVID-19 needs to be reduced in the country after a year of dealing with the crisis, acknowledging the Australian government for the timely assistance.
And upon our own medical and scientific community advice and our National Health Department's advice on this AstraZeneca vaccine, I'm very pleased to announce today our friends in Australia. They continue to step in every time we need help, just like we also try to help them to the best ability when they need help. The last time we sent a team of soldiers to go and assist in the firefighting. We are the closest neighbors. We coexisted before 75 and we still coexist today. Australia, at our invitation, knowing the predicament we are in and at our request, did send in 8,000 today. We are receiving 8,000 vaccines from Australia. Those vaccines are approved. These vaccines are in use in Australia themselves.
So it's in that context that we're able to be here today to provide the first most urgent need of 8,000 doses to be provided for the frontline health workers identified by the government of Papua New Guinea and other categories of people the government has decided upon. As the Prime Minister said, it's very important that those people be inoculated very early because we cannot afford for the health system of Papua New Guinea to fail to collapse. So we would really like to see all those people who wish to be vaccinated as soon as possible. That's what the 8,000 vaccines are for, and we provided with them the necessary equipment, the needles for inoculation, the containers for disposing of the needles, even the band-aids for after people have been vaccinated.
In addition to OSMED specialists and 8,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines, today's Royal Australian Air Force flight also delivered 3 mobile storage units which will support the vaccine rollout and 5 community tents which will provide multiple functions including triaging facilities, reception centres and clinic spaces. Trukai Sports is next. All the details after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
The Tokyo Olympic Committee has announced that spectators from abroad will not be allowed into the country to witness the Tokyo Olympics set for this year. The move is a significant concession to the realities of the global coronavirus pandemic, even as organizers remain determined to hold the Games in July later this year.
International spectators will not be allowed to attend the Tokyo Olympics, a decision reached by the event organizers who are determined to go ahead with the world's largest sporting event. The Tokyo Games was postponed from 2020 and will begin in July after a year delay due to the global pandemic. During a news conference last Saturday, President of the Tokyo Olympic Committee stated the Tokyo Games will be completely different from the past, but the essence remains the same. The decision of barring spectators has been jointly made by Tokyo Olympic Committee as hosts, including the International Olympic Committee, the International Paralympic Committee, and the local government of Japan. With the global pandemic at hand, the rollout of the vaccines in Japan being relatively slow, Thomas Bach, IOC president, has urged the organizers to secure vaccination sooner, with the Chinese government coming on board to assist. In bidding for the Games, the Tokyo organizers said up to 7.8 million tickets would be made available, and typically about 10 to 20% of Olympic tickets go to international spectators. That's about 1.1 million people coming in from abroad. The organizers will now have the enormous task of arranging refunds for ticket buyers, with overseas buyers already purchased 600,000 tickets to the Olympic events, as well as 30,000 tickets to the Paralympic Games starting in August later this year. Kilawani, Trukai Sports.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports. The weather report for the next 24 hours after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports. This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, Port Moresby, mostly cloudy with chances of few showers tonight, then mostly fine. Daru, mostly cloudy tonight, then morning showers. Kerma, Alotau and Popondetta, partly cloudy with chances of a shower or two. To the Momase region, Vanimo, mostly cloudy with chance of a shower or two. Wewak, cloudy periods with late night showers. Partly cloudy with chances of few showers tonight for Madang. Lay, partly cloudy with possible light showers or two tonight. In the New Guinea Islands region, Kimbe, cloudy periods with some showers and possible thunderstorms tonight. Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka to have cloudy periods with possible showers. To the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, cloudy periods with few showers tonight, then morning fog. Goroka and Kundiawa, mostly cloudy with chances of a few light showers tonight, then morning fog. Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy periods with rain showers tonight, then morning fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Tuesday, the 23rd of March 2021. On behalf of the entire EMTV news team right around the country, pleasant viewing, be safe and good night.